Life throws you punches. Trauma, life, and burnout. I've lived through it all, and I've built something for the fighters that refuse to stay down. If you're ready to stop playing small and own your story, then this is where you belong. The Unstoppable Network is where the overcoming stories are getting very loud. From veterans to survivors to trailblazers, sharing their story of turning their pain into power. Welcome to the Unstoppable Network, where we turn your mess into a message. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Unstoppable Network. I'm your host, Dorothy Odell. I am the founder of the Unstoppable Overcomers Productions. We are a full service media agency, and we want to make sure that your story is told. And sometimes people have a little bit of a hard problem doing that. So we also have coaching available to help get rid of those limiting beliefs that is holding you back from sharing your story. So for more information on that, go to our website, www.unstoppableovercomers.com/coaching. And we have an amazing 7-week program coming up for you here real soon. So go click on the Bold and Unstoppable Blueprint to get all that information. I'm excited because we actually have in the house Dr. Holly Roehl, and welcome to the show. Did I say that right?
You did.
I did say it right. Okay, cool. So some of you might know, but a couple weeks ago we tried to have Dr. Holly on live, and she was having a storm in her area, but that's okay. She's here now, and I can't wait to dive in. So, Dr. Holly, tell us a little bit about yourself. I don't like doing a big introduction because I want people to know from you who you are.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dorothy. I'm really excited to be here. I am a sports mental skills coach, sports psychologist. There's sports professional. There's a lot of different names for us, but mainly people understand us as mental skills coach or mental skills training professionals. Sports psychology, as you know, if you break it down, psychology, the ology is the study, psych is the mind, and it's sports. So it's the study of the mind in sports, and that's what I do. But it all started back in high school. I was a very talented athlete. I played volleyball and basketball, and I was all conference and state in 3 years. So in basketball, my freshman year, I finished my season, and then I went up to the varsity immediately. And then I played sophomore, junior, and senior, both volleyball and basketball varsity. So I was quite the athlete at the time, one of the better ones. I am 6'2", so I did have a little bit of advantage, and I did have natural talent. So I really had some good coaching. So they really developed me quite well. My mom always was there at almost every game. Unfortunately, my father and my brother did not ever come to my games, which is very heartbreaking because I feel like he's a failed father and he just wasn't there for me. But my mom was. So I didn't have that support system at all. And so I believe, my brother was really kind of jealous of me. And even my dad, I believe, was jealous of me because I'm playing sports and it's probably what they wanted to do. And unfortunately, my brother is not athletic at all. So I got all the athletic genes and I excelled. I mean, we were in a very small high school. So when I played, everybody knew who I was, and I was in the paper all the time. So I was the one, I was 20 points, 20 rebounds a game. Wow. Playing. So I was heavily recruited, but when I was recruited, I tell people this and they laugh. I go, I was recruited before the internet. Okay. That means there was no such thing as, going out there and finding all the players. I actually had to be on invitational camps. So they actually invited you. And then at that point, they brought in all of the universities to watch you. So there was one in Wisconsin. That's what I was born and grew up in. And they went there. And then after that, I actually got letters from my coach because they could not contact me. So my coach would go down the aisle. A third period chemistry teacher was my basketball coach. He'd come down the aisle and just flip the letters on my desk. Here's another recruiting letter. I quick grabbed them and put them underneath my phone. Kids are like, what is that? What is it? Oh, just a letter, just another recruiting letter. So I didn't have a lot of knowledge about the recruiting process. Nobody's there to help me. No one, my mom and dad had no idea what to do with a talented athlete. What's college? They never went to college. What do I do? How do I support my athlete? And so basically, some of the colleges I recruited from were Northwestern, Syracuse, Dartmouth, Georgetown, Brown, Cornell, Kansas State, also the Air Force Academy, West Point, Purdue, and North Dakota State. So did go to some of these schools, and get this, I went all by myself. I didn't have anybody to go on these scouting trips with me. They just, here's your plane ticket. Well, here's how you go. Here I am, 17, 18 years old. I'm flying, never really flew, maybe once. Now I'm by myself going to these campuses and meeting these coaches. Can you imagine? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what questions to ask. I have no idea. I'm just kind of, okay, here we go. And I went to Brown University. I went to Northern Illinois University, and I went to North Dakota State University. Those are my 3 trips that I went. Brown, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I go, that's where I wanted to go. But unfortunately, my father felt that, he wanted to keep his things and not sell some of his collector cars. He could have afforded to go there. So I was not allowed to go there because he wasn't going to wasn't going to support me financially there. So I ended up going to North Dakota State because it was a full scholarship. So that's where I went, and I had, and they are at the time, they're now Division I, but when I was going there, it was Division II, the top Division II basketball team in the nation. One of the top. We actually had more fans at our basketball games than the men did. So
I love it.
So, we were pretty famous there, and it was fun. And then my first year, we went to the Final Four and we came in 3rd place, but that was my freshman year. And my freshman year, I actually had, I got tripped from behind, and my elbow was dislocated. And I literally had to be taken off the floor in an ambulance gurney and out to the hospital. And I was very traumatic. And they had to call the orthopedic surgeon out of surgery just before he's going to go in to set my arm. So after that, I followed my sophomore year, lost my passion. And I said, you know what? It was very difficult for me to come back because one is, as an injured athlete, I had no one to talk to. No one. I had my trainer. I would love to have talked to a sports psychologist or a mental skills, a coach, anybody. I had nobody to talk to. And that's another reason why I do what I do, is I do help injured athletes. And so when I came back to the team, oh my gosh, I was very isolated. I wasn't well received. I felt kind of shunned because I was so far behind in learning the plays, and it was difficult. It really was. And it wasn't a very good atmosphere for me. So at that point, I literally, after my sophomore year, I left and I went to Arizona State. The one thing my mom told me, and she's my biggest supporter, she said, you can't quit. She goes, if you're gonna leave that college, you have to go to another one. So of course I pick Arizona State. So I go from the coldest state to the hottest state.
Other
And
state.
the funny thing is, the only reason why I picked Arizona State, you'll get a kick out of this. I'm a huge football fan. I'm Green Bay Packers, coming from Wisconsin. The only reason why I really picked that school is because Arizona State went to the Rose Bowl in 1987. And I was like, yeah, that's where I want to go. So
Oh
believe it or
gosh.
not, again, before the internet, my mom worked so hard by mail to get me transferred from North Dakota State to Arizona State in one summer. So I
Wow.
left in the spring. All through the summer, we were corresponding through mail because, again, no internet, phone calls, mail,
What about a
everything.
phone?
And a phone, but they need the paperwork, so you had to mail it.
Oh yeah, true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she got that all done in one summer. So I started ASU, finished up my degree. But it actually took me 6 years to get through school. 2 years at North Dakota State, 4 at Arizona State, because I no longer had my scholarship. I did not want to play basketball. I was pretty much burned out. I was injured. I was just, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I worked my way through school, and I had to work financially, support myself and my schooling. So that's why it took me a little bit longer. But after that, I graduated and continued to work. And I got a BA in broadcasting sales and management. Fortunately, I didn't really use that. I don't think that was really my calling, because talking to my mom, she goes, you know what, Holly? She goes, you're really good at listening to people. She goes, I really think you'd be a good psychologist. I go, well, that's interesting. And oh, no, Mom, no, I don't really do that. Well, guess where I'm at. Thank you, Mom. So she knows, your parents sometimes know you the best. And so,
Funny you said that. Funny you said that, because my dad wanted me to be a bookkeeper. He says, everybody's going to need a bookkeeper. Well, here I am, 30 years in the trade, burnt the hell out, and need to find another career. But yeah, listening to your parents can sometimes help.
yeah, and it's funny. And sometimes your parents, they do kind of know you the best. Well, in 2003, unfortunately, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she did not want to take the chemo. And so it was only 3 months and she was gone by the time she was diagnosed to the time of her death. And it really hit me hard. And again, my father and my brother were up against me again, trying to, they had the financial means to get me to see my mom, and they didn't. So I was not there for my mom by her bedside when she passed. And they had the resources. Thinking back, they had the resources. So I'm like, why are you doing this to me? I mean, what father and brother does that to a daughter and a sister? I mean, it's like they're holding me back all the time. They're like, nope, we don't want you to be successful. Nope, not going to do that. And then my dad came to me and asked me to pay for a third of my mother's funeral. Who does that? Who does that? My mom worked for the city of Janesville, and she had a policy. Okay, why are you doing that? It's, again, a failed father, misdirection, dream stealing, pushing me down, doesn't want me to succeed, doesn't want me around my mom. What's going on here? So I felt like, what, they're just pushing me away. And that's where they started colluding and keeping me out. They just blocked me out of everything. And they decided I couldn't go through any of my mom's stuff. They said, well, you can go through this box and this box. I'm like, oh, really? That's all I get? And they said, well, here, this is all you get. I didn't get, they chose what I could go through. And I'm like, well, that's not very nice. So, I mean, it's sad that I don't have a father that would even, again, what father and brother would do that to their sister and daughter? That's no support. That's I don't want anything to do with it. But, you know, after all of that happened, I said, you know what? Thinking back to my mom, the one thing my mom always told me, she goes, Holly, education, get your education, because guess what? That's something they can never, ever take away from you. And so that's when I went and got my master's degree in sports and psychology. I was like kind of going through you kind of go through looking for what you would be good at and seeing what was out there. And I took some personality tests and stuff. And you know what? I really like sports. And I saw psychology. And believe it or not, I found the University of the Rockies out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, one of the first universities online, because that's new. In 2008, I signed up for my first master's class for sports. I go, that is such me. I go, oh, Mom said psychology. Yes, I do like to help. I love sports. I go, what a great combination for me. I'm like, Mom was right. So I did get my master's through there. And then I went on, and this is I've been one of the first classes to ever go into this field. So I'm kind of in the forefront right now of that at the time. And then I was the only person that went directly from my master's at that university on to get my doctorate. So not many people did that. So I was one of the few that continued my education at the same university, University of the Rockies, and got that. So that's what I did. So I completed that and continued there. But
totally
then
a role model for all women. All girls that are out there that are going, that want to play sports but think it's a man's world.
no,
Dr. Holly here is here to prove that, wait a minute, that's not the case. So
no,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to make that as a point that, hey,
absolutely.
Whatever you put your mind to, and it's not, thank God for your mom, she was in your corner, things like that. And so you also said that you had studied under Dr. Ken
Revisa, yes.
Revisa.
Ken Revisa he's no longer with us, but he was he's the one who first started mental skills training for baseball players at Cal State Fullerton, and they got them to the World Series. So he's the one he's phenomenal. I mean, his teachings are great. Learned a lot from him. And did you know he was the first person for the Chicago Cubs, 2016. The manager brought him in and says, you know what, let's bring you in and see, because I think we need some help. Ken Revisa got them through the mental training of that whole team. In 2016, they won the World Series. The Cubs didn't win in 108 years. The year that Dr. Ken Revisa worked with them, they won the World Series. So that's a testament to one, what does mental skills training really do? It does affect your play. Like I say, lead with the brain, the body will follow. That's my tagline, because you can't do anything without the brain going. It has to know what's going on at all times. And I also tell a lot of people, I go, think about it. How good is your car going to go if the engine isn't tuned up and efficient? Is it going to putter down the road because the engine isn't tuned? So how is your brain how is your athletic performance, your body going to go if you don't have your mindset and your brain engaged? So that's what I do, is I help with that. And I give those skills to my athletes. And the reason why is because look at where I've come from. I've come from sports. It's a great support system. I'm another support person out there. So that's why I do what I do, and I do help injured athletes. I love what I do, but I've been an athlete. I've actually been a coach. I've coached a basketball team, a girls basketball team, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at a charter school. And boy, doing the fundamentals and doing all of that, it's a lot of work. But boy, I love to give back. And that's something important, because I had great coaches and I coached the fundamentals very well. And I get the strategies down for them, and they had a blast, and we won the conference, then they say, hey, you did really good with our team. Do you want to coach an all-star team? I'm like, well, okay, I'll try that. And I said, I don't know. I'll just do, you know how difficult it is to do an all-star team because you have so many different girls who've never played together before. And it's very difficult. That's something a coach needs to know is how to do that. I got them all together, got all the fundamentals, got all of the strategies down. And again, I won the whole thing with that team as well. So it was fun. I love giving back because I have a lot of knowledge. I played the game. I coached the game. I know get to the college level. So that's another avenue that I can help in recruiting a lot of different things. And I'm there for parents to help parents. I do a lot of things, you know. So one of my softball players went to the Senior Little League World Series, and they won it all. And I watched her play, and she was phenomenal. She was a great second baseman and an outfielder at left field. She was great, and I really enjoyed working with her. And I love to go watch my players if I can. But a lot of my students are across the nation, so it's hard for me. But this one, I wanted to go see her, and you know, and I surprised her, and she's like, she didn't know it was me. And I said, hello. And she's like, oh, you're here. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here to watch you, you know. So it's really nice that they're excited to see me because, again, it's another support system. And I'm not only supporting them, I'm supporting their parents. You know, it's hard to support an athlete. And I know what that's like being on the other side, you know. So that's something very, very important to me. But then back to, you know, 2013 rolls around, my dad passes away, and that's where I just recently found out that there was no will. So I'm like, well, that's odd. My brother never once took it to probate, never once shared that they had no will. He stole everything from me. So there again, he's a dream stealer, and he's pushing me back down. And he doesn't want me to succeed. He wants to make sure that I have nothing. And what brother does that? And his name is Roehl. And, you know, it's funny is don't you think, and he's a nurse in Murray, Kentucky, and don't you think he should be compassionate towards a sister? So my question is if he's not compassionate against his own sister, how can he be a nurse and helping these people? It's boggles my mind that I don't know how he can even be a nurse. All I know is he told me is that he's just there for the money. It's sad. It's really sad that he's just there for the money. But you know, so I just found out it wasn't a probate. I'm like, okay, well then there was a lot of things that my dad, you know, that I should have had. So I called him. I said, well, let's talk about it. He avoided me, hung up on me, wouldn't talk to me about it. And he just put me in a text saying, write it down and give it to my attorney. I'm like, really? So I drove 600 miles to Kentucky and just to say, hey, you know, let's just resolve this amicably. And his girlfriend, which he's never had a girlfriend before, she's from Mexico City, only had one girlfriend. And she said, come back later. I'm like, no, he's in there. I hear him. And I knocked on the door and I go, he wouldn't come out. And I'm like, why aren't you coming out to settle this amicably? Again, he's just shoving me aside. And then they called the cops on me. Who does that? What kind of brother does that? I mean, that's unheard of. I can't believe somebody would do that. So now I have to take him to civil court and to get all of my stuff back. But again, he's colluding and he's a dream stealer, just like my father. They did not want me to succeed. And guess what? They didn't stop me one bit. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm overcoming all of this. I'm unstoppable. You know what? I'm doing what I love. And they never once stopped me from doing what I love and what I should do. I enjoy giving back to my athletes so much that, you know, that's what I want.
Right.
Because what I'm finding out in this journey. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think if you focus on that, right, just focus on you. And I know that it's unfortunate that you've had a brother and a father that have done that to you. But, you know, sometimes being the better person isn't always easy, but it's required.
Mhm.
And so, just those, good for you though, for continuing on the path that God had for
Mhm.
you, right? And just continue on from sports into sports
Yep.
psychology, and now
Yep.
helping your people, right? That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
I mean, that's what I'm here for, It's like, you know what, you know what, we all have things in our past and we all have people trying to stop us. They're dream stealers. We all have that. And so I want to let people know, don't let anybody stop you. People try to do that. And what I'm finding out in this journey is that the NCAA has a study out. 7 out of 10 athletes, kids that are 13 years or older, quit. Due to burnout, overuse injuries, coaching pressures, and parental pressures. That's where I come in and I can help with that. I help the parents navigate the sports environment, help those youth sports, which I love my youth sports, and I just think what I've seen today is my recommendations are you shouldn't play sports year round. Studies have shown, I have plenty of studies out there that you should not play year-round sports. You need a break. Do the major league, the MLB players, do they play year-round? No, they take a break. The football players, they take a break. Everybody takes a break. You need that. And I think it's also important that these kids play more than one sport. You can't specialize at an early age because there again, the burnout's going to come, the overuse injuries are going to come, and it's very important to make sure that they get because there's very important to cross train. You're in one sport, believe it or not. If you are in baseball, playing basketball is very good cross training. You're still getting cardio, you're getting hand-eye coordination, so it's good cross training. And coaches, when they're going to recruit, they want to see athletes play more than one sport because then it shows that one, you're coachable, two, you're versatile. So that's important. And I also am seeing that we have kids out there who are playing the same sport, but playing club and high school. There's no need for that. I mean, that's just, again, you're creating more, believe it or not, kids need to recover. Kids need to rest.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't just go, 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 go. Okay.
Yeah.
Just because they're young, that's a lot of pressure on them. But then you add on the top of that, you have school, the homework. If these high school, I hear these high school, they're in AP classes. Some of them require 2 to 3 hours of homework. I mean, that's a lot. And I just found out from one of my students, he's in 8th grade and he's getting classes that he can take in 8th grade that will go towards a high school credit. They're just pushing and pushing these kids to take all these classes. I'm like, let's enjoy the journey. Okay. Enjoy where they're at.
Right.
Slow it down. Parents have got to slow it down. Enjoy. It's fine for sports, but don't play 2 sports at the same time. That's going to create exhaustion, overuse injuries. They're going to have burnout a lot sooner. And I actually saw something on Facebook. Somebody said that in 3 years, they spent over $10,000 on elite softball. Wow, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. It really is. Or they're playing tournaments 3 to 4 times in a month. That's unbelievable. But I've had some great success stories. A lot of my athletes, just educating them, giving them those mental tools to, have that success on the field and control those emotions. The most important thing that I give them is myself. It's what I give to them, and I give them the why behind what you're doing. I just don't say, here, do this. Well, why are you doing this? Because you're not going to do it if you don't understand what you're doing. And that's what I give them. And I give them that support behind them because I'm a player. I know what you're going through. If you're injured, I know what you're going through. And that's where I can help, So anxiety and pressure is a huge, huge thing right now. Anxiety is the number one emotion in sports, and I always say, the reason why they have so much anxiety is, one, it's a lot of pressure, but two, it's the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, but you have to look at it in a different way sometimes. And that's what I can help them with, So
I think that's
I
across the board in life.
yeah,
Some of us have anxiety because we really don't know what life is going to throw at us, especially with everything going on in the world right now.
right,
And
right.
I like that you said that one of the testimonies, 90% of the game is mental. The rest of it is physical. Well, I kind of heard something similar along that line when I was actually training for a half marathon, and
Mhm,
my trainer's like, it's 90% is in your head. So once you get
mhm,
past that, you know,
mhm,
everything
mhm.
everything's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Um, and it was so true because the
absolutely.
day of the race, I got in my head and everything went to shit, and it was just like, oh my god, I trained. I could do 17K by myself, no problem at all. And
Yeah,
then when the day of the race, I got in my head and it was game over. I finished it. I went 3 hours and 3 minutes, but
right.
I finished it. That was all I wanted to do was finish. But I love that you brought that up. Because a
Yep.
lot a lot of us, I think we could apply that to everything in life, though,
Yes,
right? Really.
absolutely. And that's what I do, is what I give them is I give them what happens on the field, but also it translates into the classroom. Here's an example. I had a golfer, freshman golfer. He's in one of the competitive schools, about 2,000 students in this whole school for high school. Very competitive in golf. And as a freshman, he made the varsity team, and he went from a 3.2 to 3.8, and going through and making sure that he's got his golf game on, and now he excelled in the classroom, and now he just recently he got a golf scholarship. So it does work, and it translates over into the classroom because these techniques work. I help them understand the mind body connection. I help them stay present in the game. That's what I do. I have a 4-week training program, and that's what I do. I keep them present in the game. The mental techniques that I show them definitely help with anxiety, self-doubt, focus, confidence, and and consistency. That's what I hear the most. They can hit good in practice, but not in the game. That's what I work on, having that consistency. And then I show them how all these mental techniques work together, and I build on them. And then what I teach them in the 4 weeks absolutely translates into the classroom. I had a 13-year-old swimmer. She had a huge project due, and she comes back to me and she goes, Dr. Holly, she goes, oh my God, I had this huge project due and she's 13. Oh, but I used your techniques and it went great and I got an A. She says it was great. So again, you use these techniques, and it's not only in school, it's work, it's life. These are also life skills. And again, we all can learn. And a lot of my young ones are just so they're thirst for knowledge, and they're very good about listening and paying attention. They want to learn. And this is just one more thing that they can do, because as an athlete, there's pieces to the puzzle. And the one piece that always gets missed is the mental game. The other ones are physical, your strength and conditioning, your technical, which are your fundamental skills to play the sport, your tactical, which are your decision making, and then your recovery. How do you recover after this? So I go through a lot of the recovery, and I give my advice and my little extra. I talk about nutrition. I talk about recovery. Some things that, not a lot of, maybe, I don't know if any other mental skills coaches do that, because I have the experience of playing, and that's what I give to my players. I like to make sure that and if they have any questions, absolutely. I say I'm always open. You can always contact me at any time, even after our 4 weeks is over. I said, please keep me posted what's going on. I love to hear from my athletes. So
Right.
that's what I do, and I love what I do.
So, what's the best way that people can get a hold of you?
They can go to my website, which I see that you have it scrolling there.
Perfect.
And so at hollyroehl.com, I have a contact page. You can email me at drhollyroehl@gmail.com. Absolutely. They can email me anytime and we can talk. And, it's any question that you have. I mean, even about any questions in sports, I'm more than, I want to help, even recruiting, travel ball, whatever's out there, whatever on your mind. If you don't know something, I'm kind of not sure, that's where I'm here to help. I'm here to support the parents. How do they support their athlete? I have one right now and he's like, this is great. Parents want to know, how can they support their athletes if you've never been in that sport? And I do, and I do have a complimentary 30-minute consultation. So we can just talk and you can just find out.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I can't believe that this time has gone so quickly. Thank you, Dr. Holly, for all your wisdom tonight, and for sure for being that role model for female athletes that think that they can't do it. Right,
No,
Dr. Holly just proved that you can, and don't let anybody stand in your way. And remember that basically sports is 90% mental, 10% physical. So and also connect with Dr. Holly anyways, especially if you are being recruited and you have no idea which way to turn. Go get your free consultation with Dr. Holly today.
Absolutely.
Is there any last words that you have for our guest today, Dr. Holly?
I just want to make sure everybody has a goal and don't ever let anybody stop you from that goal. There will be support people out there, will be dream stealers out there, but you can do it. And another thing is that, what, since I was in high school, I wanted to do an Ironman triathlon. I did it. I did do that. It was one of my dreams. I did it later in life, but I did it. So that's what I want to leave people with, an Ironman triathlon. That's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. I did it. So, and that's on my website. You can see that, but I am just want to help as many people and parents. I'm here as a sounding board. I advise, I'm here to help, and I just love what I do, and I love to share my knowledge, and I just really hope that parents can start to slow down, okay, and not push kids and kind of allow them to kind of lead their own destiny, and just be that support person,
Right.
So that's great. Thank you, Dorothy, for having me. It was wonderful.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. I just want to say this episode is sponsored by Cast Magic. So anybody out there that is either a podcaster or coach or anything like that, this app has saved me a ton of time with my podcasting and with my coaching too, because it will take our videos and make coaching courses out of them, coaching material or new programs. So definitely just go check it out. And I do get a little bit of a referral fee for that, but I mean, it's 100% worth your time just to even go check it out. We've used it here over the last year and it has saved me tons of time. So go check it out. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Holly. Thanks for being on here. And remember, guys, be kind out there. Go check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Have a good night.
Thank you.